Make sure you keep that down, please. Thank you. All right, shalom, everybody. Welcome. Prayerfully, everybody's doing all right. Probably won't be on too long. We're thankful and grateful to be on here one more again. Thanks for being with us. Taking time out to spend some time with us. As you can see, I'm not really going to be able to look at comments right now. Not really going to be able to look at comments right now. But we will, more than likely, I'm not going to be able to look down. Not really too safe to do so. But thank you once again for everybody for being on. We'll try and have this uploaded later on YouTube. So for those who are watching this live, those who will watch this on YouTube later on, we appreciate you all. Thanks for spending some time with us. As you can see, still traveling. Still traveling, but on our way to our next destination. And we're thankful and grateful. We give all praise and honor to Yahweh Elohim. We give all praise and honor to him for my wife, the honor of mine, who lives a life that's able to be honored. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A-N-D, but the letter N. Bloom and Flourish. And she's a healer, herbalist, chemist, biologist by degree. And she has tinctures and different things that help out with the community. Natural medicines. The tincture of the month is still I Am Renewed. So we're thankful and grateful for all of you for being on today with us and spending some time. Tonight we want to talk about stay in place. Not sure how long we're really going to be on. Probably not too long. We're going to talk about staying in place. Stay in place. All right. Some people would say stay in your lane, something like that. We want to talk about stay in place. Don't leave it too soon. Stay in place. Don't keep. A lot of us are looking for the next move, looking for the next formula, looking for what somebody else is telling they have for you, looking for what the next dimension is. Right? I'm going to the next dimension. I'm going to the next level. I'm going to the next plane. I'm breaking through the glass ceiling. You hear all this stuff, but there's some stuff you need to learn in this place, and a lot of people are so quick to go outside of the place that you've been put in. Not too long ago, we were talking about, as part of the 12 Pillars of Wisdom series, we talked about accept humiliation, right? Be willing to be humbled, right? And be willing to learn as much as you can from that humble spot that you are in. Make it a point to accept humiliation, to learn as much as you can. You're in a position to where it seems like it's a dangerous place to be. You don't know if you can learn to grow, or it's hard to learn. It's hard to grow. It's hard to connect here. It's hard to reconfigure. You felt like you did this 10, 15 years ago. Why are you here again? Could it be possible that you didn't learn everything 10, 15 years ago that you needed, or you didn't use all the lessons and you ended up back 10, 15 years ago, right? And it doesn't mean that you can't improve faster and stronger and get to higher heights than what you had before. Stay in place. Some of us are going to stay in place anyways because we're trying to move and we don't even have what's necessary. We don't have the tools. Some of us don't have the emotional values, the emotional tool set even to move to the next level. You're trying to sit up there. It's always amazing. We got people out here trying to tell everybody all this word, but you're not emotionally sound enough. You're not, your belief system isn't sound enough. You're not even able to defend your culture, defend that which you say you believe. So we get to a place where it's like all these people are just saying, I'm going to the next level. I'm breaking through. I'm not going to stay here anymore. Y'all ain't going to see me here anymore. And I know everybody's going to the motivational cliches, right? Don't be this big fish in a small pond. You got to be willing to see it when others don't see it. You got to want it. If you wanted it more, you get it more. And it's like, well, have you learned everything? Have you gotten everything you can in this position before you move to the next level? Right? Don't leave this level talking about, man, you know what? I wish I had spent more time, with my children, because, your children get older, then they're not supposed to spend time. Then you get mad. Why aren't you spending time, this and that, or whatever? You're supposed to spend that time with them when they were in your home. Because if they get married, had children and stuff, they're in the position you were in, right? Where they're trying to sow into their children's lives. We we are not able to stay in place. Matter of fact, it's hard to stay in place if you don't have anything in place, if we just be honest, right? What do you have in place to stay in place? What are the things that are systemic that you put in your life? Right? What are the things that you put in your life that can't be altered? What are the things that you put in your life that can't be touched just because you have, or whatever? Watch this. What are some of the things you put in your emotional bank account so that you can stay in place? All it takes is one person doing something that reminds you of something that happened to you, and you're automatically going off on people, right? Because you didn't learn anything from that place. You're trying to go to a new place, you can't even get out. Some of us stay in place because it is not even necessarily for us to stay in place, but you don't have what's necessary to get out. Right? Before you leave, whatever situation you're in, right? I want to speak over your life, if you would allow me to, right? If you would allow me to, I'm going to put this out there. If you want to sieve this, right? If you want to grasp this, right? Before you talk about receiving and all that, sieve it first, right? If you're willing to, this is going to bless you if you start being honest with self. From now on, from this point on, starting tonight, if you want to, starting this live, what you need to do is you need to make sure that you are honest with yourself and say, in the position that you're in, have you gotten everything out of that position? Before you start talking about what you need to do, what somebody else needs to do, what somebody else's fault is, if you were if you had a time when you were younger, no, in the place that you were in, have you gotten everything else out, or everything out of it you're supposed to? Can you say that before you move to the next level, it's interesting. People want to get a promotion at the job, and then they say when they promote me, then they'll teach me when I get to the next level. No, like they're supposed to promote you if they know you can do what's necessary for the next level. Do you have everything out of this position so you are qualified to go to the next level? Do you have everything in this position to where you are qualified to go to the next level? Do you have everything in this position to where you are qualified to go to the next level? Are you qualified? Do you have everything in this position you might call single to make sure you're qualified to be a husband or a wife, so that when you find a wife or find a husband or are approached by a husband or approached by a wife, you are in a position to where you are qualified. Not just because it would feel good to have one, not just because it would look good to have one, not just because you'd be able to say, I'm tired of seeing all my girlfriends, I'm 30, I'm 35, I'm this, I'm that, everybody else married, and I don't have nobody. No, because you were qualified. Because them 30 and 35-year-olds getting married, a lot of them might not be qualified. That's why you showing up to their wedding, and then 6 months later you're consoling them, saying, girl, it'll be better next time. Are you qualified? Do you have everything out of this level? Everything out of this dimension? Do you have everything out of this dimension you're supposed to have first? We're always talking about the next dimension. When I get to the next dimension, what about this dimension? It's interesting. I'm not saying anything wrong with it, but people are always talking about seeing in 5, 6, 7, 8 dimensions and stuff, and we're like, man, that sounds crazy, but I want to get on that. But you can't even find truth in two dimensions, let alone 3. And you talk about 5, 6, 7, 8, right? Like, are we able to get up on time to see the sunrise in 3 dimensions? What's the point of having 8 dimensions? You're not even going to be able to see the sunrise in 3. There's some discipline we got to start talking about, right? Do you have everything on the level that you're on right now? And I see people coming on, thank you, I can't really look down, but thank you for being part of the community, those who are joining, right? Like, what do you have in this, what is it that you have now? Stop talking about the next level. Stop talking about, man, when I get that money, everything gonna change, right? What's that old Kanye song? Haha, you can't tell me nothing, whatever that is. I forget the lyrics right now on top of my head, but you can't tell me nothing or whatever. Before somebody needs to tell you or can't tell you nothing because you feel like you qualify by cash, what qualifies you now? Before you keep talking about the wealth of the wicked is laid up for the just, remember the first part of the verse says, well, hey, are you making sure your children's children are taken care of? Where's the generational wealth aspect of it? Not just, I raised a great child or whatever. That's fine, but you're supposed to be raising wealthy children. We We keep talking about the next level. Stay. Can you stay where you are for a second? Are you available where you are? Watch this. You want to get married and have somebody be emotionally available, but you're not emotionally available for friends and family where you are right now. Can you be emotionally available where you are? There's still some things you might need to learn, and you need to start asking, what are the things that I need to learn? You got to start asking, what are the things that I need to learn right here, this level, today, this day, today, right now. What are some things that I can do right here? It's the things that you do right here that's going to prepare you for tomorrow. I'm telling you, I worked out the kinks to do what I do. When people say, what do you do? And I say, this is what I do. And people say, no, you got to have a 9 to 5. You got to do this. You got to do that. No. I worked and worked. So I worked and worked. So I worked and worked to continue to try and make it a point to get to where I am, and to stay in my lane, and to stay in place, and to grind. And when 0 people were showing up for a live, still was on for an hour, right? That wasn't for anybody. That was for the Most High and me. That was for obedience. That was for me polishing, going back to being 6 years old and speaking in front of people. That was for polishing, right? Now, maybe a great size room in those situations, be like 10 to 15 people listening to you speak, and you thought you were a great, huge, big deal because you were trying to speak the word of Yah, right? Like, I got a lot out of that position, and I'm thankful. And even though I'm not in that organization anymore, I got a lot of structure that I bring with me. Even though I'm not in the United States military anymore, I got a lot of structure that I bring with me, right? One of the reasons why time is something that's like really important to me is because like I didn't comprehend time until I got, I kind of sort of did, and I was on time for certain things, and usually it was because I didn't have anywhere else to go. But as far as actually needing to take time and realizing how important time was, when you got other people depending on you, and somebody's life might be dependent on you, had to show up, and you got to be in position, and you got to make sure that you're using your training and things of that nature, right? Like what are you getting out of this position right now, right? So even though I'm not in the military anymore, at the same time, we can say all the bad things we like, or I'm sorry, all the bad things we do not like about the military. At the end of the day, though, guess what? Like, I learned how to be on time. I learned that whatever I feel, like I don't have their branding, so I'm not worried about having 3 creases in the back and a crease across each breast and all that stuff that you do with the military. However, I learned how branding is important, how you want to come across is important, what you feel is important, right? Making sure that you say the same thing every day, you do the same thing every day, right? That went into things like praying in the same place every day. So I made sure while I was in place, even when I was having struggles, even when I had times with a hard time being on time and used to get in trouble, I learned a lot out of that, and it helped me to grow, right? When I had a hard time making sure that I was presentable in uniform, I learned a lot from that, and I was able to make that work. When I learned, even when I had a hard time as far as learning how to shine my shoes or whatever, I don't worry about shining shoes, but something like, I might not shine shoes, but I might put on something that is shiny or something like that, as far as shea butter or something, whatever it is, right? But there's certain habits that you have that you start applying to yourself, whatever it is, but you got to get everything out of that position, right? Whatever it is, you're in a position for a reason, and don't try to run out of it just to be able to say, like, please, ma'am, please, sir, please, brother, please, sister, please do not make it a thing. Please do not make it a thing where the things that you are doing, or please don't make it to where you're trying to go to the next level just for the sake of going to the next level. A lot of people do that. I want a promotion. What for? Well, I want a promotion because I want to make more money. Is that it? I mean, a lot of people get promoted to make more money, but see, I'd rather you get promoted to cause change. The mindset is different. But a lot of people, just for the sake of doing it, I want a promotion. Why? You're from why? Because your friend got promoted? I want to be on a higher level. What is your purpose for being on a higher level? I've been called to preach. What is your purpose to preach, and who are you supposed to preach to? If you don't know who you're supposed to preach to, you're not going to be able to do what you're supposed to do with that. Then we start saying stuff that doesn't make sense. We try to use stuff out of context. But you know, the Most High, the Holy Spirit will come and she'll take care of all things and stuff like that. The Holy Spirit brings things to your remembrance. If something is dismembered, she brings it back to your remembrance. That does not. But if there's nothing in you, or there was never anything attached to you that got dismembered, then she's not going to bring back something that was never a member in the first place. You know, what are you doing this for? Who are you doing this for? What is the work for? You want to be the change that you want to see? I'm sorry, I'm trying my best. I can't really read the comments too much, but yeah, you know, that's the kind of mindset, right? What am I doing this for? It's crucial. Why? What is the purpose? Get everything out of this. There's going to be plenty of time. Watch this. You know, when you get to that next position, there's a bunch of problems that come with that next position. So before you get out, you know, it's like when you have children, right? Children say, man, I want to be a grown up. I want to be an adult. You always telling them, hey, don't rush. Don't rush it. Have fun. Play with your toys. Do your little video game stuff. You know, don't worry. You don't have to worry about bills. You don't have to worry about, no, I want to do this. I want to do that. Okay, just remember what I told you. You know, I work too. You know, treat me like an adult. Look, man, at the most, you working 20 hours a week right now. You ain't working. Like, you know, you're trying to tell them, like, be ready. You're saying that you want this stuff, but with every choice comes an invoice. When you talking about you want to do all this stuff, be ready for all the stuff that comes with it. Right? Be ready for all these things that come with it. You want to make you want to have the stuff where you make, you know, you want to get the promotion. All right, don't get upset when now everything is on you. You know, it's often funny. You know, I learned this in the military, heavily in the military. You have all these people that will say, you know, I want rank. I want to make rank. So you finally make rank, and you know what? One of the first things that happens to you when you make rank, everybody who was your friend now hates you, because you have to continue to make sure that the mandate continues to take place. You have decrees that have been spoken to you. You have orders. You have training that now you're the person in charge of the training. Now you got to make sure that OJT is happening. You got to make sure that people are doing their PT. You have to make sure that people are eating correctly. You got to make sure that people are in the right frame of mind, right? And sometimes that means you have to tell people about themselves that people don't like to be told about themselves. So now you have this whole different dynamic where now all of a sudden you a jerk. Yesterday I was your best friend. And I get it. There are some people that, you know, and I can say I'm guilty of this a little bit, where there are times where I got frustrated, and rather than teaching, I was just like, why can't you guys do this, blah, 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 or whatever. I was the wrong mindset, right? However, I can say a heavy majority of the time, when I was in leadership, I didn't change as far as my perspective, my thought process. But when you tell somebody, when you go from being it's easy to be the person to where, hey, oh, so-and-so told you, you know, so-and-so told you to do that or whatever. Oh man, you know, well, just keep on working hard, whatever, right? Now all of a sudden I'm the person in charge, and I'm so-and-so. And so I say, hey man, it's gonna be all right, keep on working, it's gonna be all right. But because now I have a authority, that person doesn't like what's going on, right? So what I'm saying is, like, be careful what you ask for. Get everything you can out of this. There's going to come a time where you got to deal with people's attitude. There's going to come a time where you got to deal with you know, how much more money you're making. By the way, you're making more money, especially those of you who are trying to keep paying taxes. You know, then the more taxes you got to pay. You're going to have, you know, people say, I want the better vehicle. Okay, well, it costs more to keep up the better vehicle. You know, I want to make sure that I have multiple properties or land or things like that. Well, okay, then comprehend. There's people always constantly, consistently trying to figure out a way to take that from you. Be ready for that, right? Like don't think that just because you make it to a certain level, that's it. And don't think that you need to jump away from where you are. You know, Moses had 3 levels of his life, you know, if you don't want to count when he was born. But basically he had 3 phases of 40. Level number 1, he was a prince, right? Prince of Kemet. Now, who would have thought that to level up, he would have had to have been a shepherd, which is considered to be one of the worst professions, although it's something necessary. People don't like shepherds. Shepherds stink. Shepherds spend more time with sheep than they do people, so they're quirky. Shepherds are not thought of as being a great thing, but he left being a prince, but the next step up for him was the shepherd. He got everything he could out of being a prince, and then it was time for him to roll out. He rolls out, right? Runs away, but he rolls out. Next level, you would think it's something different, but no, he needed to get everything he could out of being a shepherd. Being a prince, royalty was one thing, but you got to shepherd people. Just because you're a prince, just because you're royalty, doesn't mean you're ready to shepherd. Did you hear what I said? Somebody needs to hear that, right? Just because you are royalty doesn't mean you're ready to shepherd yet. And you confusing it. Oh, I'm a queen, I do, but that doesn't mean that you're ready to teach people. You talking about birthright. That's great. Your birthright is that's fine. Your birthright is, yeah, exactly. But even though you have a birthright, you still got to be adopted into your birthright, or else your birthright don't mean nothing. You have to be able to master it, and that means you have to be able to teach people. People talking about their birthright. My birthright is this. My birthright is this. My gift is this. My calling is this. Right? Can you get everything out of your training? Discipleship. Have you gotten everything that's out of it before you get ready to go to the next level? I'm a king. I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do that. I'm royalty. I'm a chosen generation. I'm a peculiar person. Have you gotten everything out of this place that you're in? Right? Don't be peculiar just for being peculiar. Don't be strange just because you want to not fit in. There's some people that do stuff and wear stuff like I don't want to talk bad about anybody. I'm not trying to talk bad. There are sometimes it's people know things culturally about their tribe and stuff I don't know. But I'll literally be watching people who are showing you how Afrocentric they are, and don't even recognize that they're wearing stuff that doesn't make sense, because one culture that you're wearing in your nose actually speaks against what you're saying with your headscarf, because you don't even know that when you tie your scarf different way, you tie your scarf, say something different. Don't even know that that's different than the way that you have your wrap going around your body, right? Don't realize that might be different as far as what type of sandal you're even wearing. But you're wearing a bunch of cultures. You didn't get anything out. You just tried to go from A to Z, right? You tried to go from kindergarten to your master's degree, working on your doctorate, and you never learned first grade. One of the reasons why, there are children out there that can skip. So I skipped I think kindergarten or something, right? And I as soon as I finished first grade, immediately went into a place where they had me in a second, third grade combination. But it was dangerous to have you skip, because you could say technically some children might be able to skip 3-4 grades. Why not just let them skip several grades? But you don't have a child skip several grades in the school system, because yes, they might have the book smarts, but there's a little thing not called street smarts, but there's this little thing called communication. There's this little thing called civilization. There's a way that a child is supposed to be able to get along with others, right? And so if you try to take a child, even if they can do book smart stuff, and right, and some of them might be able to do what I'm saying, but we know a majority won't. Even if they can answer, they can read on a 5th grade level. If that child is at a preschool age, reading at a 5th grade level, they still need to be able to figure out how to deal with preschoolers, and then kindergartners, and then first graders, and then second graders, right? And then third graders, and then eventually fourth graders. So if they skip, it's dangerous to them not to have them skip as far as the book smart, but it'll be dangerous if you had that preschooler skip to 4th grade if they don't know how to speak to 4th graders. Right? 4th graders are already going to be on a whole nother level as far as bullying and stuff like that anyway. So now you're going to take them and put them in a mindset that doesn't belong. Or what if the 4th graders are having conversations, that the preschoolers shouldn't be having? What happens if you get somebody that's in 6th grade and they can go ahead and they're as smart as seniors in high school, but seniors in high school, especially, right? However, comprehend, realize, recognize that the Most High is trying to get you to recognize that, hey, before you try to leave, before you try to, do what a lot of people do, some glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away. But before you fly away is the kingdom of heaven inside you, right? Before you start saying, hey, I can't wait to die so that I can experience heaven. Have you learned how to experience heaven on earth? Stay in place. Stay in place. All right, if you can stay in place and you can learn what's in place, then when the time presents itself, when the season presents itself, when it's time for you to bloom, then bloom. But flowers don't just bloom as soon as you put a seed in the ground. You put a seed in the ground, germination starts, water needs to be correctly, soil needs to be aerated, right? Roots need to go, shoot needs to be able to push through. It actually has to go through pressure. It has to become strong enough to push its way through the soil, right? Chlorophyll needs to be. Have you been rooted yet? Are you so busy trying to bloom for somebody that you're not even rooted in the ground? You know, if I take a flower out the ground and it'll still bloom once I take it out. You know, I can cut it up. I can take 12 roses and put them in a package or whatever, and they'll still bloom. But they're not really gonna last as long as if I were to just leave them rooted. You know, you trying to skip being rooted just so you can bloom. And here's the key, right? And we're gonna get ready to take our leave. And thank you for everybody for listening in and spending time with us. Here's one of the things that's going to happen as well. The flower doesn't stop being rooted just because it blooms. Right? Hear what I'm saying? Stay in place. Don't come up and say, okay, I don't have to be rooted in the word anymore because I bloomed. I don't have to be rooted in excellence anymore because I bloomed. Right? I don't have to be rooted in waking up. The same root. It still needs soil. It still needs a root, right? It still has to be connected to a stem. It still has leaves. The rose is still there in position. Just because it bloomed doesn't mean that it no longer has to go through a process. So don't forget that. Just because you've opened up, just because people are recognizing you, just because the business started yesterday, doesn't mean you don't need to stay rooted and committed. Stay in place. Stay in place. And the blessing comes from staying in place. If you got fed there already, you know, you don't need to worry about moving yet. I'm not saying before somebody hits on something, hey, you know, well, I can move, you know, what if y'all's telling me it's time to move? Get the context. The context is talking about, have you got everything before you up and move? Stay in place. So we appreciate you all. Thank you for being on today. I appreciate the king and queen in each and every one of you, even if you're not living inside that kingdom or queendom yet. I appreciate the potential king and queen in each and every one of you. As always, we give all praise and honor to the Most High, Yahweh Elohim, and we give all honor to him for my wife, the Honorable Maya. You can check her out on TikTok, YouTube, her website, and Pinterest at Bloom and Flourish, not A-N-D, but the letter N, Bloom and Flourish. For those of you who are taking classes with us tonight, class is still on, where my wife will be teaching Natural Medicine 2. And don't forget that the tincture of the month is still I Am Renewed. So thank you so much for being on. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and take my leave, and we're going to finish this last leg of travel. And we appreciate you all. As always, this has been Pastor Kofi, Pastor Servant to Christ, where we are always changing lives one mind at a time by being the voice of the voiceless and speaking the unspoken. Until I have the great privilege, opportunity, and responsibility of being in front of you all again, please remember as always that you are loved, you're necessary, you're majestic, you're fearfully, wonderfully made, and you, which is all of us working together, will be the reason why people who are in this system no longer have to be of it. Shalom, family. Shalom. And we'll talk to you later. We'll be back on live, 8 a.m. Eastern, New York time tomorrow. We look forward to talking to you then. Peace.